welcome to my sewing room. I am so excited about our show today. It has a very unusual theme to it, ribbon and lace weaving. And oh, we have some beautiful techniques and some beautiful things to show you too. The first ribbon woven garment I have to show, it actually isn't a garment, it's an accessory, is this gorgeous little purse. It's done with lavender and blue and gray ribbons, and has ribbon weaving on the purse bag. Also this beautiful ribbon flower here and ribbons. And look here, the little handle is even awfully sweet. It has ruching on the handle. And the back of the little purse is absolutely as beautiful as the front. What a lovely purse for a beautiful lavender or blue evening dress for yourself. You want to see a pretty pillow? Well, here it is. This is silk, tie-dyed silk, and then some wonderful ribbons with the gold lame on it. Beautiful silk along the edge, and then the tie-dye along for the piping. And then look at this ribbon down here, at the ribbon that's been folded, and a cabbage rose and more leaves. This is such a beautiful pillow for your home, especially for a formal room in your home. I have some nice clothes too. This jacket, I think, is absolutely wonderful. It has ribbon weaving in the collar. Actually, you want to know something? Those aren't ribbons. Those are old ties. All different kinds of ties. Here's a tie, here's a tie, here's one on like this. Little bitty strips of ties woven with braid. Also on the inside of this jacket, there are some more ties just used in a most unusual way. So now you know that you can be creative with your husband's old ties that he does not want to wear anymore. Another very unusual look on the ribbon weaving is this black and white jacket. My goodness, it has the fuzzies all over it. Wouldn't that be cute for a very casual occasion? The black and white ribbon woven jacket. The next one I have is actually woven serger strips. Absolutely darling, with lame and all kinds of different fabrics. The strips are serged and then woven. And over here on this side are some beautiful machine decorative stitches. Gosh, everybody I know is really having fun with all those wonderful stitches built in on the sewing machine. My last serger woven vest has metallic threads in these beautiful colors of pink and turquoise and white. And once again, lots of stitching from the wonderful built-in sewing machine stitches that hopefully your machine has a lot of pretty built-in stitches also. Would you please go over with me to the technique boards, and I'll share with you some of the wonderful techniques for making beautiful woven ribbon items. Let's have some fun weaving ribbons, okay? First of all, I'm going to do the ribbon bodice for a little dress. Now this is fusible interfacing. I have traced off the bodice pattern on fusible interfacing. Now one really important factor, the sticky side is up. I'm going to weave the ribbons so when I press it all, they will stick to the ribbons. Okay. Now let's start ribbon weaving. I like to use a fabric or lace shaping board where I can stick pins into it. Okay, the first one I'm going to weave is this peach one right here. Okay, I went over and then I will come under, and then I went over and then under and then over and under, over and under. Okay, that strip is woven. Next comes this yellow strip. Okay, this time I will go over and let's see, under and over. Do you see what I'm saying? You just come under and over and weave it any way you want to weave it. Come all the way across and get your whole piece woven. Now, I told you we were going to do some ribbon weaving with lace also. Here I've used silk ribbons and lace strips and woven a combination of silk ribbon. The lace goes up and down and the silk ribbons go across. On this side, I've woven lace going all the way across and partially lace and partially silk ribbon coming up and down. On this one, I've woven more ribbons in where there's a little cross, where the ribbons cross right there. And on this one, I've really woven lots more silk ribbons because all of the vertical pieces are silk ribbons and all of the horizontal pieces are wonderful wide pieces of lace. It's really very easy to do, and all kinds of really beautiful projects can be made with woven ribbon and lace. Here's the first one. This lovely little bonnet is woven lace with ribbons woven in the front and then a little piece of edging around on the edge. Let me turn it all around for you real slowly so you can see this adorable little baby bonnet that has lace and then ribbons woven in the front. Here is how you do it. Very, very simple. First of all, I butt together my pieces of lace insertion. Now here is the trick. Down at the bottom, where the lace is going to be woven, I do not zigzag that part. I leave that open. Okay, let me show you this piece so you can see a little more clearly. Here is the whole bonnet. I have zigzagged the laces together down to this point right here only. Then, as you can see, I have woven the ribbons across here, and then after weaving the ribbons, I will come back in and straight stitch all the way along there, so I will hold the weaving. Now some of you are saying, well, you know, Martha, you haven't shown us how to butt two pieces of lace together. How do you attach them? Well, this is the last of the great and easy techniques to do. When you want two pieces of lace to be attached, you simply butt them together and zigzag them all the way down. Just butt them together and zigzag them. And on this little bonnet, as you know, I come to the point where the ribbons are going to be woven and I stop. Okay, now that's where we are with this piece I just showed you. Now let me bring this piece down and let's finish up this little bonnet. Okay, I've woven the ribbons, I've stitched along here. I'm going to have to trim that away, but as you can see, I've also put my lace edging on the bottom of the bonnet. Now the bonnet is shaped sort of in a half moon, so I'm going to zigzag, tiny zigzag all the way around the edge of the bonnet, and then I cut away this excess piece right here. So I have my bonnet ready to run, gathering threads in the back and finish it off the way my little bonnet is finished off over here. I have some more wonderful ribbon weaving over here and lace weaving and some more garments to show you. If you're like I am, you just love to see garments. I want to see how you're going to use it, Martha. Well, we've got some cute ways to show you. This adorable little jumpsuit for little boys or little girls has ribbon weaving and a panel in the front. This is one of our patterns of the series. But isn't that cute with all those primary colors right there? Now, how was that done? It was done, I'm about to lose my boards, aren't I? It was done using grosgrain ribbons. Okay, once again, the fusible interfacing is on the bottom, and 3 wide pieces of grosgrain ribbon were used, and then the narrow pieces of grosgrain are run in. You can also put a little tape up here if you would like to hold everything as you go along. But you weave, and you weave over and under and over and under, and then sideways, just any way you want to. And then when it's all woven, you press it down and also stitch it down, because this is going to be put into a garment. You press it down, and then you will stitch around the different areas that are going to be woven into the garment. Now, these little pieces right here missed your what you pressed it down on, your gluey fabric, your fusible interfacing. So what I did here was simply go along and zigzag these down to the whole shooting match, so when that little suit is washed, the ribbons won't pull out. Now this is another pretty garment which I have for you. Let me put these over here. Let me first of all hold up this lady's nightgown. This is our nightgown pattern of the series with some ribbons and some lace and some beautiful machine embroidery stitches in it. Here we go. How did we make it? Well, first of all, I trace off the bodice right here. Then this ribbon weaving is done with wide silk ribbon, one of the most beautiful materials and fabrics in the world to work with is silk, and the silk ribbon works just like the silk fabric. Okay, I do my silk ribbons vertically across, and then I come in. You can see I've got it all the way on the bodice right here. Then I come in and, horizontally. I'm sorry, the silk ribbons go horizontally across, and then I butt 2 pieces of lace together. Now, you know I slipped over too fast. Let me ask you to go right up here. In this case, there are 2 pieces of lace edging butted together. You can see this nice strip that I'm going to use as a wide strip to weave. Now, back down to this pretty nightgown I'm working on. The lace strips, the two pieces that are butted together now make a wide strip. Those are going to run vertically, and these silk ribbon strips are running horizontally. Isn't that pretty? They're just woven together, and you can see the silk ribbon, the robin's egg blue, just peeking out from that beautiful, beautiful ecru lace, the French laces. Now, over on the next part of the teaching board shows that after everything is woven, and it's big enough now. I know that when I redraw this nightgown, I'm going to have some excess fabric of this new fabric that I have created. Let me unpin this right here just a minute. You see there, when I redraw the nightgown edge, there will be this much that will be cut away. But before I cut it away, after I redraw the whole thing, I will need to go back and stitch, straight stitching all the way around the lines of the pattern. There are two more really cute features here. Feather stitching is stitched to hold the whole thing in place. Feather stitch is stitched down here. Feather stitch comes across, feather stitch comes across, and these adorable little machine embroidered hearts, one here, one here, one here. You know, I'd like to bring this nightgown back up and show you how darling it is when it's finished. The lovely ribbon weaving with the feather stitching and the little hearts cover the bodice. Then a sweet little treatment comes all the way down the front. The feather stitching and the little hearts travel all the way down the front of this little nightgown, and there is a pretty piece of ecru lace on the bottom to make this nightgown just a wonderful and a beautiful one that is also really comfortable to wear. Now, my little doll has a really pretty dress, and I guess you could guess right now that she has some silk ribbon weaving on her dress too. My red-headed doll looks beautiful in her ecru dress with the silk ribbon weaving. Her little bodice has a little bit of silk ribbon embroidery on it. Isn't that precious? Just a few little flowers used in the colors. Now, I have to turn her around so you can see her sleeve, which I think is wonderful. The silk ribbon is woven with green and pink and ecru and blue, and it's also interwoven with lace. What an elegant treatment for a French dress. Now, coming down the front of her dress are little strips of insertion all the way around. And at the bottom of those strips is a panel of lace and silk ribbon weaving, just a little square, a very small one. Let me turn her sideways so you can see that those little silk ribbon squares do indeed go all the way around her dress, tucked in with just a little bit of entredeaux. This is a very easy technique to do. You've already learned how, but let me share with you one more trick. Now, I'll be doing my work this time on a piece of netting. I also see that little shiny strip up there that looks like cellophane tape. That is wash away basting tape, and this will hold my little silk ribbon pieces while I weave them, okay? I've got a green piece. I'm going to go over and under and over. Okay, that one's finished. Now, since I have this basting tape up here, I will put my little pink piece and kind of baste it to the top. This time it will go, first of all, it will go under. And I hope I don't baste my finger to that basting tape. Over and under, and now then, all right, under again. So forth and so on until I make my little square. Here is the little square after it's finished. Now, when I get the size I want, once again, I will straight stitch all the way around this newly created fabric that will hold it in place. And since this is going into her dress, I will put entredeaux at the top. Let me show you how the panel looks when it's finished. This little batiste panel, here's the panel of the dress with insertion, and then the entredeaux woven strip at the top of a batiste strip, and then insertion on this side, and then another piece of Swiss batiste. Next, I have a really pretty quilt square for you with loads and loads of colors, and of course, it is ribbon weaving. This absolutely beautiful quilt square has ribbons just woven all through it. But if you will notice here, it isn't just ribbons, there's a little bit of lace too. There's a little trick in that. Let's figure out exactly how it's done. First of all, in order to get the grosgrain ribbon with the lace on it, you absolutely just pin it on halfway and stitch it down and then turn it back. That's how we got that pretty little peekaboo grosgrain lace. The base fabric on this woven ribbon quilt square is a fusible knit interfacing. Can you see the line that you draw right in the middle? You lay it down like this and then start working on that line in the middle, and everything will just line up beautifully. Once again, as we've done so many times before on this ribbon weaving, let me come over here and unpin it. Pick up this piece, slip it over a little bit, stick a pin back here. I'm going to go over and under, so the next one to go under will be this black ribbon here. Just pick it up and go down, and then I'll repin right here. By the way, this is a wonderful lace shaping board I'm working on, and it just helps so much to be able to have something to stick those pins into as I am doing my ribbon weaving. See, that's the idea. And also, you know, you've got the fusible interfacing under here. So when I finish it all, I will take the iron down and put it all over here, and it will fuse it to the interfacing. And guess what? We will have our quilt square already finished. And you know, I think this quilt square is so pretty. I believe this would be beautiful to have a whole quilt done in just these woven ribbons for the quilt squares. Next, we have another beautiful ribbon weaving project for you. And this is something for your home that I think you're going to love. This music box heart woven pillow would be appropriate for so many occasions. Just wait until you see it. I love this pillow. It is done out of an ecru or really an ivory taffeta, and the ribbons are woven in the center with ecru laces and off-white ivory laces and blue braid. And isn't this a cute little frou-frou with a little tassel just kind of stitched right in the middle of it? It has the cording around the edge. Now let me flip it over to the back. Just a plain taffeta back, and here's the little music box sticking right out of the back. Now, how do you make this little pillow? Well, actually, it's quite easy, so let's look at this step by step. The first step is to start the heart. So you trace off the design of the heart and then begin to do the ribbon weaving, and you know, you go over and under. Actually, this is ribbon and lace weaving. And then you go over and under. You can see the weaving process has started here. Once again, using this basting, wash away basting tape to hold the end pieces. After the ribbon weaving is done, stitch around using a straight stitch all around the heart design. Actually, it'll probably be easier to stitch that from the back since you can see the heart design from the back. And then naturally you're going to trim away the excess fabric that you have created. Are you with me now? The little heart is now created. Okay, to make the rest of the pillow, the top of this puffing pillow is a reasonably wide piece of taffeta. It has 3 gathering rows run in on the inside and 1 gathering row run in on the outside. Okay, this is all gathered up nicely. That's going to be our puffing center for the pillow. The inside, of course, gathered up a lot more than the outside. And the next step is going to be to sew the heart down to this pillow. And then after you sew the heart down, come on back in here and just trim away all of the goodies that are in the back, because that just leaves a little bit too much excess if you leave all of that stiffness in there. Then, after the heart is finished and stitched down, of course, you're going to use white or ecru thread. At that point, it is now time to bring the braid all the way around and stitch it down. Now, the finished pillow, let me bring this back one more time, would be so much fun for a wedding occasion with a wedding music box in it. It would be so nice. This one we've done, are you ready? Do you want me to play the music for you a little bit? This is called Send in the Clowns, which is a really nice little song for a gift for any number of occasions, actually. But you see, you could put a lullaby in there if you were going to use this pillow for a baby pillow, or you could put a wedding song if it were going to be a wedding pillow, and actually any pretty little song would do. I hope you have enjoyed seeing this little pillow as much as we enjoyed making it for you. I just love it. Next, I have a really interesting craft for you to enjoy. This picture frame is the perfect place for you to use those wonderful old black and white ancestral pictures which you may have. As you can see, it's terribly easy to make. The ribbon weaving is in beautiful shades of peach and brown and gold and ecru and even a light peach, which is almost a pink. And the old portrait is in the middle. And by the way, you wouldn't have to use an old portrait, but I happen to like these wonderful old portraits. And if you don't have any pictures of great-grandmother and great-grandfather, you can simply go to the antique store, purchase yourself a picture, and you have automatically adopted Aunt Elzina and Uncle Claude. And nobody will ever know that those aren't your ancestors, I promise. Now, after you finish all of the ribbon weaving, you put it on a frame. It's really very easy to make. Let me pull all the pieces over here and just kind of share with you how easy it is to make. First of all, it's done on a frame, one of the kind that you normally put pictures in. You slip your picture right down in the middle, and you see the picture will only be about this big, so you've got to have this acrylic base to glue your ribbons on. Okay. The ribbon weaving is done on a craft fusible paper. In other words, you purchase this, it almost looks like a little skinny piece of styrofoam, to tell you the truth. Now you put your ribbons down, weave them, stick the pins in them, and then iron it. You put your iron on top of that, then you can take the whole thing off, and after you put it onto your frame, then carefully glue your ribbons around there, the braid around there. Carefully glue your braid all the way around there, and then you will have this wonderful picture that you can use. You can either hang it on the wall. There are two little holes in the back, and you can put nails in it. You can hang it on the wall, or you could use a piece of this braid and make a little rope type hanger on the back, and then put it up with one of those pretty little brass wall hangings. That would be a fun project for you to make. Great Christmas gifts, great gifts of any kind using those antique pictures. Speaking of antiques, I would like for you now to take a wonderful trip with me to my attic. Let's look in my grandmother's trunk and see what I have for you today. The little dress I have to share with you today is one of my very favorite pieces that I've ever had in the way of antique clothing. I purchased this dress in England a few years ago, and it has the most wonderful laces that you'll ever see on the front and also on the skirt. First of all, let me show you the little tucks. There are several sets of 3 tucks, released pin tucks, on the sleeve, which gathers the fullness in and makes it so precious. Then there are the little pieces of Swiss eyelet and the French laces that travel down the front of the little dropped waist dress with the midi. See the little, this is called a pigeon breast when it pokes out like that. The little skirt has, again, the most beautiful laces you've ever laid your eyes on. The wide laces, and you can see I even have a little hole in this dress, and I love them just as much if there's a little hole in it. And the back has more of those released pin tucks that are so pretty. For the Sewing for the Heart segment for today, I have a letter from Stephanie Wright of Charlotte, North Carolina. She writes, "My mother Mary and I are involved with a group called Tender Loving Care Ministries. This organization provides homemade clothing to needy children in the Appalachians. The ministry is headquartered in Livingston, New Jersey, and led by Reverend Carol Johnson. People from all over the U.S. sew outfits size 4 to 7 and send them to her for distribution. The clothing is given out several times a year, including holidays. For this year's Easter shipment, she sent out over 400 dresses and 80 boys' outfits. Monetary donations to TLC are put toward accessories, toiletries, and the shoe and coat funds. This ministry is a great way to combine a love of children and a love of sewing. There's so much need out there. I was buying fabric a few months ago and was telling the sales clerk about this ministry. As it turns out, she already knew about it. Her mother is a teacher in one of the receiving areas, and she reported to her daughter that many of these children have never, ever, ever had a new garment that was all theirs. Well, thanks a bunch. Keep on stitching and filming. Sincerely, Stephanie Wright." What an exciting project to send to make a new dress or a new suit for a child that has literally never had a new dress. Can you imagine? So you see, those sewing machines are very important in the volunteer work of this ministry and lots of other ministries. I've had a wonderful time having you come to my show today. I would love to invite you to come back next time, and until that time, keep on stitching and having fun because we all know about the joy of sewing.